So make a separate mod pack with all our stuff in it. All the stuff that you don't need for making missions, you can take out and just add your own stuff. If you get my drift.
Yeah, I did that when you told me to last
Just
time.
make sure you don't add more mods than what are on the server. You know, anything that's not on the server ain't gonna work, obviously. But you can take stuff out to make your pack run a little bit lighter. Get yourself those better load times. You all watching? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go into editor. I've got that mod pack loaded up already, of course, and I'm gonna take a random map.
I started recording as well.
Yeah, man, go for it.
Okay.
Let's just take a simple map. We'll go with desert, real tiny. So this is the desert map. As you can see, it's one of the most exciting maps we have. This is it.
Oh, hell yeah. We were looking at it as well.
Very minimalistic.
2x2.
What do you mean minimalistic? This is amazing.
I mean, to be fair, you can use the outskirts of this map as well. You know, it all sort of links up. It's not like a weird edge on it. It's just a big desert. It doesn't have anything here.
It reminds me of Squad. You know
If
that
you want,
desert
you
map?
can go into your props and you can place out some rocks to make this look like a real area. You know, and people always think that you can't save stuff that's outside the map. That's fucking bullshit. I'm not sure. There's probably a limit to how far you can go, but you can go quite a bit off map. For that mission, that big mission I did, Smooth Cactus, I had the airfield, and that was about 5 kilometers off the map, and it was still saved. So, so you can actually make this into a decently sized mission. It's just that there's not much going on. You have to place everything yourself. But let's start with a real simple mission on how to set that up, and then I'm gonna give you guys some more tips into how the modules work and kind of stuff you can do. So in order to create a mission, you know, first of all, you're gonna need to have some people, the people that you're gonna play as. I like to just go into Blue 4, and you go into men. I like to use the base game dudes. I usually just go for officer. So I want to have a team chief. I want to have him have, like, you know, you can go for combat lifesaver, like say it's a team doctor and rifleman, and we'll give him a radio man or a JTAC, whatever, right? Okay. And then I want to have a different squad. See how it wants to add the blue line? So it wants to put it in the same squad, right?
Yeah.
I can just put it down further away and the blue line disappears and I'll be separate, or I can still place it down next to him. And if I don't want him to be part of the same squad anymore, I can hold down Control, left click, and drag up, and then let go. And you see they're a separate squad now. So that's also, if I want to make him join that squad again, hold down Control, click on him, drag, bam. Sorry if this is too basic for you. I don't know how much you guys know, but that's how you can make different squads and stuff. So I want this guy. I want him to have a fucking doctor as well, like a medic. I want him to have 2 riflemen. Oh, should have. If you hold down Control, you can place multiple. I forgot to hold it down. So let's just say this is our very. You're gonna do a small recon mission or whatever. This is your team. Okay, so I have the team chief's team. I have a small team, and now I want to add my Zeus guy, Zeus slot as well. I don't know how to do the virtual Zeus exactly. You can do them. You can do them with some scripting, I think. I tend to just not bother myself because the in-game Zeus like this, it seems to work fine. Especially now that we have that option enabled where you can still spy on people. There's not much difference anymore. So let's place down Zeus. Last one in line. Make this a separate guy again. Okay. First of all, this guy has a red ring around him. Anytime you place down a unit, the first one you place down is going to be selected as player. You don't want that. So we're going to unselect that. I'm going to select them all. Right click. We'll go to attributes. And we're going to make them all playable. That's the first thing you do. It's very important. Then we're going to scroll down. We're going to go to ace options. And we're going to, this is the most important thing that nearly everyone forgets when they make their first mission. The performance factor. You have to drag this down to 0. And that is so that the ace stamina settings can take effect. If you keep this at 1 or whatever it was set at 0.5, I don't know. It'll take over with the vanilla stam settings, which is not what you want. You know how people complain, oh, my stam was crap that whole up. That's because people forget to drag that bar down. So keep that in mind. Remember that. That's important. Okay,
Okay.
so now your people will look like this. This is what you. If you have the purple ring around them, that means they're playable. These are going to be your player slots. We're going to start with our team chief guy. I'm going to go down to ace options. You're going to have to go down here a lot. I personally always make my team chief. These are the perks. I'll make them doctor and engineer. I know there's regular medic and regular engineer. I don't really always know what the exact difference is. So as far as I'm concerned, these two don't even exist. I always just go for doctor and advanced engineer. But if you want to look into the differences, you can. Doctor advanced engineer, and we want to name him. His name will be team chief. And now, if you want to set his squad name, and this is for the list selection, like when you pop down, you want to do an @ sign, and you want to do, I don't know, fucking command team, or whatever, command team 11. You can go as nuts with this as you want. I'll show you what it looks like in a second. So @ command team. You only have to do this for, I don't actually like command team. It doesn't make sense, command team 11. Okay, command team. Press OK. Done. That's my team. You only have to do that for the leader of each squad. So these two guys are in his squad. It's a different story. This is going to be our medic guy, right? Or doctor. So we're going to name him. His role description is Team Doc. Don't mix up your role description and your variable name. You almost never need the variable name, only in very specific cases. Like when you actually have to use it for like some scripting. I'm going to go down again. We're going to just give this guy doctor. His performance factor is still all perfect. So, okay, done. Last one, we want this guy to be the JTech. Scroll down. I'm going to give this guy engineer perms, but not doctor, because he's not a doctor. Done. Same with this guy. He's going to be our team leader. And then we're going to do add blue team. Again, you can change this to whatever you want, of course. Scroll down. I always give my team leads everything, just like my team chiefs. Just give them doctor and engineer so they can help out if needed. This guy, medic, give him the doctor, done. And then I want these guys, just for convenience sake, I'm going to select both of them just to show you how it's done. I'm going to right click them. I'm going to go to attributes. I'm going to make them both be called a rifleman. And I'm going to set them to advanced engineer, because I always give engineer to anyone that's not a medic pretty much, because, anyone can do engineer stuff generally. I don't want people not to be able to replace a spare wheel, stuff like that, Okay, sorted. So my team setup is done, and now I want my Zeus. Zeus is a little bit more tricky, requires a little bit of stuff. So I'm going to double click him. Variable name. This is where you're going to need a variable name. You'll make sense in a second. You can make this anything you want that makes sense. Usually for me, I just go for capital Z for Zeus. And if I have multiple Zeuses, I'll just add a number behind it, Z1, Z2, Z3. But I've got one Zeus in this mission, so just call him Z, capital Z. His role description will be Zeus at high command. Again, whatever. Make him doctor and engineer. Again, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't really matter for Zeus, but I like to make sure he has stuff. So that's set up. Now, to make this guy Zeus, we need to give him the Zeus module. So you're going to go to your module screen, the F5 systems on the top right, and then modules. And then at the very bottom, you'll see Zeus. Under Zeus, you have the Game Master module. Plop the Game Master module down. This is not like Zeus, by the way, Eden. So if you plop this down directly on him, I don't think that'll work. You have to just plop it down anywhere. And I'm going to show you how to set them up now. You double click the Zeus module. And now here you don't need to set a variable name. This is where people get kind of tricky sometimes. But now you have to set the owner for the Zeus module. So the owner is Z. Remember, because I gave the Zeus guy the Z as his variable name. So his owner is now Z. Name is not important. This is important though. For the add-ons, you want to make sure you include unofficial ones. So you get all the mods, not just... I'm not actually sure if that makes a difference anymore, but that's how I've been taught to do it. So that's how I've always done. Force interface, don't need to take that. Name, don't need to take that. So just set the owner to the variable name as Zeus and click this drop down and make sure including unofficial ones. And by the way, if you guys have questions throughout this, feel free to ask, man. I'm chilling out, so it's no problems. And now one more thing to complete this process, you're going to right click the Zeus module. You're going to go connect and then sync to, and you're going to sync him to your Zeus guy. So you get this blue line between them. All right. Now, normally by default, if you want to try your mission, and the bottom right it'll say play scenario in single player. But we want to make sure that we did this right. So we're gonna go to the top, click play. We're gonna play multiplayer real quick, just so we can test. It'll make a LAN server on your computer real quick. That's fine. Just press OK. You know. I haven't checked all the settings correctly yet, so it's not gonna. It still says it wants AI in there, but let's just unclick that for a second. It looks pretty okay. So you got command team, you got team chief, team dog, JTAC. And then if you blue team, team leader, medic, rifleman, and you have your high command Zeus. Oh, that looks like what you want, right? That's what you want to see.
All right.
Custom team. We'll go back. I wanted to show. So I've got a bunch of loadouts ready. Let's start with this one. So this is my team chief. If you want to give him a custom loadout, you're going to go right click, edit loadout, and an ace arsenal. You can use virtual arsenal as well if you think that's easier, but I don't think it is. And now I make all these loadouts in advance. You can make them however, wherever, whatever you feel like. My computer always takes a long time to load into my loadouts. I think that has something to do with the amount I have, but I'm sure for everyone there's a little bit of desync. And if you make missions for a long time, you'll start like building up all these different ones. I like to put a letter in front of them so they're easy to, they're all together. So I have Canadian Army here, for example.
Hell yeah.
This is Chalk 1. This is like my old one. For the first time, I ran Mount Hope 3. It's like a year ago. Funny enough, I still have that. And here, for example, these are my US Army, the ones for Smooth Cactus. And here I've got the US Army. It's like a different one. This is the one for next week. Or for Sunday, sorry. But yeah, that is next week. So let's say this one is not very specific. These ones are very open, but I can go for this one and I can say I want my team chief kit. So I've got US Army team chief. I click load, I press escape. And if you're doing this in editor, the only thing you got to do is in the bottom right, you got to click apply. You can't press escape again because it won't save. So you got to click apply. And now this man has a saved loadout. Now you can do the same thing for the whole team, of course, individually. I'm not going to bother with that right now because I'm sure you guys catch my drift. That's how you do that. If you want to save this, I can select the whole thing, draw a box, select them, right click, and I can save them as a custom composition. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can see I have multiple saved. So if you make some of these in advance and you want to make a real quick mission, you can just go on the fly. You can go to here to compositions and then to custom composition. And then I can say for like my operation on Sunday, for example, I have this. This is my blue 4 team on Sunday. This is what I used yesterday as well for the op, just for convenience sake. I just dropped that one in and I was done. And this one is super open, as you can see. There's nothing in here. This one guy has a Maz and this guy's an M249. The rest is all like in a limited arsenal. And I have two Zeuses and all that good stuff. My pilot's back here, but that's just saying that you can save a composition whatever way you want. You can even include the game master modules or respawns or stuff like that. Like here, for example, I have my arsenals also saved with that composition. I'm going to show you real quick. Actually, no, that's going a little bit too far ahead. Let's do that in a second. Now, if you have you're almost done with your mission, pretty much. Like this is just most basic mission where nothing happens, right? But you're almost done with it. The only other things you're gonna need is a respawn. Just look for respawn in modules. The top one, multiplayer respawn position. Plop that down where you want your respawn to be. You double click it. You can set the name. I don't know, desert camp or whatever. The type is infantry, that's correct. You want to set that to blue 4 or whoever your people are playing as. You want to show that to only the side, and that shouldn't really matter, only if you're doing PvP, but I like to go down the steps. And I'd like to disable notifications for it. Okay, done. Easy life. People will respawn directly here once they respawn. If you're working with a carrier deck, I know there's a bit of coding business you can do to make it go on the carrier, but what happens is if you want to put a carrier down, by the way, you go into your props, you type USS. Drop one down. Oop. Yeah, that's big. Oop. Okay, got a carrier, but I want them to spawn on the carrier, right? If I place my module, let me find it again, I'll place a new one down. Respawn. If I place that down on the deck, like so, it doesn't work. it's gonna spawn people under the boat in the water. It's really annoying. So what you want to do, like yesterday, for example, when I had a Chinook, you can just go here and find a CH-47 or whatever works for you, right? I like to sometimes just put a car down as well, but you can place a vehicle down, preferably without people inside, but for the example, it doesn't matter. And I can drop my respawn anywhere next to the ship. I right-click it, and I connect and sync to, and I sync it to the helicopter. And now it won't spawn here, but they'll spawn in the helicopter. So it doesn't matter what altitude it's at, you know. It'll spawn in the helicopter, you can jump out, and you're on the deck. It's not the best way to do it. Like, I know Candles has a script for it, I think, where you can make it so that you actually spawn on top of the deck, but for me, I'm lazy, so I just don't care. I'll just let people spawn in that fucking thing. But that was just an example. If you need a custom spawn like that. Let's see where are we at. Okay, so that's your very basic mission almost set up. Now the only thing you have to do, and you might almost want to grab a notepad for this, but if you're videoing it, it'll work. You need to set a couple different setting things, right? So go to the top attributes and you want to go general. All right, you can fill in a title for your op here. That's what you'll see when you join in the game. I don't really want to make any more test missions because I already have so many from showing people this. It's clogging up my system. But yeah, you give it a title. I don't know, test mission. You go down. I untick required DLC, even though DLC already says none. I don't think it makes a difference, but just to be sure, I untick it. Down here, you can set the independence, so the green for allegiance, by clicking this. So if you want them to be friendly to both, you know, obviously both shake hands. If you want them to be enemy to both, you know, I'm sure you can figure that out. You're smart enough people. Binarize the scenario file. It only makes it so that you can't edit it in a text editor anymore if you want to make changes to it. So that's usually fine, and it saves you some loading in time. So I recommend just keeping that ticked. But if you want to make it more editable, you can untick it. I don't know, maybe bad information here, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. Editable object Zeus is one of the options that you only get when you have Eden Enhanced installed, which is why Eden Enhanced super importante. It has a couple of options that it's going to give you for making missions that you pretty much can't live without if you want to make normal missions like we're used to. So editable object Zeus is one of those. It means that once you go into Zeus, all the objects that are down are going to be selectable for you without having to do it like manually. There's also a module for it that I'll show you in a little bit. So make sure that's ticked, and okay, that's done. See, these settings really don't take long. You don't even have to do that many of them. Environment is not an important one really right now, but since we're here, I'm just going to go through it real quick. It has this weather forecast thing. You'll see that for every setting it has a forecast setting as well. Forecast pretty much just means whenever it's going to change. So it'll start out like this. With fog at 0, and I can make it that in an hour or so it's gonna have fog at 100, right? 100%. Oh, that's not really, I don't want that right now. But if I want that to happen, so for example, I have an operation, right? I usually always have my server up for Barbie half an hour before start, and then I usually reckon it takes about an hour and a half to complete the mission on average for my ops. Not like the big ones, but most of the time about an hour and a half. Yesterday it took quite long. So you want to cut that in half for me, about 45 minutes. Hello, Tilbert.
What's good, Tilbert?
So I'll take the half-hour Barbie and I'll add 45 minutes to that, and I come to an hour and 15. So if the clock just ticks along a normal time, that means that about 45 minutes into the operation, your weather is going to change, and you can make it change to whatever you want. So that's what all these different settings are for. I'm not going to teach you any of the rest, but I just want to explain how the forecast system works. And also keep in mind that the time of year, depending on the map, the time of year can make a difference as to how much daylight and shit you're getting. So keep that in mind. If you're like in an Arctic map and you want it to be light or something, you might have to change, or dark, you might have to change it to different shit. But I'm not going to teach you too much about the environment module because that's just unnecessary. That's all like for you guys to find out for yourself. But if you have questions, just shoot them my way. Attributes multiplayer. Now this is an important one. You're gonna need to do a couple things here. Game type, you can set to Zeus. You can make that anything. It doesn't really matter, but we do Zeus missions. So minimum players. I like to make sure that it's the exact same amount as what I have on the ground, but you can make this up to 40. I think we have up to 40 slots on the server. So 1 minimum, max 40. Disable AI. That's why before it looked like I had that annoying AI button on the screen when I was going in multiplayer. That's why you have to untick that. And then the respawn. This is what a lot of people get wrong. For respawn, you want to go to the drop down and select respawn on custom position. And then you want to select under that, select respawn position, this one. And you want to unselect show respawn counter. Doesn't really matter, you can keep that tick too, but I prefer it off. But make sure you have select respawn position tick. That's muy importante. And then you have to set, it's also been told this, and I've never actually verified it, but I've been told you have to set at least a 5-second respawn delay, otherwise the system don't work properly. So this is probably the most important thing for you to set besides those stamina settings. Respawn on custom position, select respawn position, and make sure you have a 5-second timer. Scoreboard, I like to untick it because I feel like we're playing PvE anyway, but leave that ticked if you prefer it, up to you. And then save loadout. This is another one of those options that you only get with Eden Enhanced. Important to have Eden Enhanced. You want to tick save loadouts if you have any kind of loadout made for them. If you have no pre-made loadout made for them, I recommend you actually leave it unticked. Because if you tick save loadout, you cannot double click someone when you're actually playing the mission and go into their arsenal and change stuff around if need be. Like if the team chief calls, I need earplugs or whatever, for example. You can't just do that quickly on the fly. It sort of overrides your ability to change people's loadouts on the go. So, like I said, if you don't have preset loadouts for operations and just have an open arsenal or a limited arsenal even, I recommend just keeping that unticked. But if you do have any kind of saved loadout, make sure it's ticked. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. Just try and make sure it's clear. And then the last setting you have to get here, this is one people forget a lot. Down the bottom, you have dynamic groups. You want to enable that. That's pretty much the U menu in game. So for you to be able to change squads and stuff. If you don't have that enabled, people can't go in the U menu and change it around. If you don't want people to do that, of course, then you can leave that unticked. But usually you want to give people the option to change that stuff around. Simple, right? Okay, that's all for multiplayer settings. Again, these settings are not many, but you just have to know what to tick. And if you know which ones to tick, I usually do all the settings in less than a minute. Actually, that's already it, because performance is not even important. I still have garbage collection on here for some reason. That's from the old mod pack. But even this, you don't really need to fuck around with. But you can do some janky stuff with that. I've never experimented, but I'll leave that up to you. So in essence, if I were to go into... by the way, in the bottom right, you'll see that it says multiplayer now, because that's what we tested in last time. So it's really easy. You can just click that. And look what that looks like. Fucking beautiful. Oh, yeah, shit, I forgot I added the whole second squad as well, but you can ignore that.
Yeah.
So let's go into Zeus, make sure that all works real quick. It's always good to test your files as you're going.
Sorry, what?
You still got that little boxy thing?
I got a new one.
Do you? Like a big boy vape?
Yeah, I could adjust the wattages and shit.
Oh, that's gay.
Fuck off. Oh.
All right, continue.
I can't feel my fingers anymore.
Too much nicotine?
Okay, what's up?
Is that too much nicotine?
Yeah.
So, desert camp, you see the name for the spawn. I'll click respawn. Fucking beautiful. I even got all that crap set up over there. And you see, because these people are playable and AI is disabled, only the people that actually join, get spawned in. It's not like these guys are standing around here or anything. Press P, or whatever your Zeus button is. By default, I think it is Y.
Yeah.
In case this is not, I'm sorry, I found doing stuff a little bit too basic here. I'm just making sure everything is sort of covered.
No, it's perfect.
No. That's amazing.
Good. Okay, so now we're in Zeus. I'm going to give you guys an introduction in Zeus in a second, don't worry, but I just want to make sure this mission file worked. I'm going to show you a couple more things in Editor first. A lot of stuff. I really recommend making your missions in Editor. It's just more convenient. I'll show you for a couple reasons, but it's up to you. If you want to just work with Zeus mission files, you can do that too. One important thing, for example, is how to make a limited arsenal. So you can drop these boxes down. These are called supply crates or whatever. These are called HLC. So if you go into your props under objects and then props, you can either type HLC, you get this list, these are the green ones, or if you type in IDAP, and you scroll down a little bit, you get an equipment box or a supply box for IDAP as well. I like to use the orange ones because our people are really dumb, so it takes them a long time to see stuff. So orange is good. You can double click that and go to attributes. This is attributes, and at the very bottom you have object Ace Arsenal, and you get the screen. This one's already sort of pre-made. Actually, let me grab an empty one, so that's maybe a little bit more logical. Because you see how that composition I made earlier of the team, it saved the whole arsenal as well, including the limited arsenal. So it's very easy to do stuff on the fly if you just save your stuff that you put work into. So at the bottom, object Ace Arsenal, you can see this is empty and it is set to whitelist, which means there's technically no arsenal in it right now because there's nothing selected. If you have whitelist selected, you're going to have to select all the individual things that you want to be in there. If I wanted a full arsenal really quickly, all I have to do is click blacklist and press OK. Because I've not blacklisted anything, that means everything in there will be whitelisted. Ergo, you'll have a full arsenal available. If I want to limit that arsenal, though, you can still choose whichever ones you want, blacklist or whitelist. I guess one of the two should usually be easier. If you have a very limited arsenal with not much stuff available, you probably want to go whitelist, so you can select a few guns that you want and a few ammo types and all that. If you want to have just a couple of things not be available, of course you would go to blacklist, and for example, you would say the minigun, which is the 134, I don't want that to be in there. You can click cross, and now everything besides the minigun will be in there. So you can take some meme weapons out if you want, along those lines, catch my drift. And now a very quick way to make these, if you go to anywhere and say I want to have an arsenal with just M4s in it, right? I'll type in M4 in the bottom. I'll go to guns. I'll get a full list of M4s. Also, watch out because I made a mistake on my arsenal the other day. There's M40s in there too. But if you want to select these now, I go to the top one and I press. You can do this with the arrow keys on your keyboard. So if you hold down right arrow key, it'll select it. If I go left arrow key, it'll unselect it. So if I want to select this whole list, I hold down my right arrow key and I hold down my down arrow key, and you'll see it'll select everything. Watch out, because sometimes computers get a little laggy and it doesn't do the whole list and it'll skip a few. So I often go back up and do the same thing up to make sure everything's selected. So if I delete M4 now out of that text box, it'll give me the whole list again, and you can see everything that's in there. It's just the M4s because it has the infinite sign next to it, so infinite M4s. So we're making an M4 box, right? That's just what we're doing now. We're going to whitelist it just for convenience. We're doing a small special forces up. So I want them to be able to grab M136 heats. I don't want them to be able to grab Iglas. I want them to be able to grab some M72s. So they've got two types of disposables and MAS. Easy life. So they get 3 launchers, pistols. They can grab Glock 17, and I'll let them grab a 1911 and a Beretta. That's the choices. But for example, now we get the scopes. Now a lot of people whinge if they don't get all the scopes available to them. Of course, it's always up to you however you want to run your mission. But very often nowadays, I just tend to do all the scopes just for convenience sake. And my computer is running beautifully today, apparently. Oh, it skipped one. Did you see it skipped one? So I can normally, if we do a long list, you can go back up the other way, do the same thing. You know, if you skip a few, and you can make sure everything's selected. All scopes are selected. Now we want to whitelist the attachments, so the flashlights, etc. See, oh, now it's skipping stuff. So we're going back up. Now we got everything. Suppressors, same story. Oh, same story. I'm not gonna do all of these, by the way. I'm getting bored already. But yeah, that's why making limited arsenals is a lot of work, which is why it's even more annoying when people complain about it. But okay, so we got this. You can do bipods. For ammo, you can click add compatible items. So all the attachments and all that stuff, you can do that too. Just for the ones that fit will be added. So that's a very convenient button to know. So here you see the Glock rounds and the M9 for the Beretta. And here it has the Stanex that go on the M4, but doesn't add any of the other stuff that's unnecessary. So you can also just make all the ammo available. It doesn't really matter. So your cigarettes, Murtaz, that you're always asking, or is that Rat that's always asking? That's Rat that's always asking. You guys sound so similar, dude. You and Rat. It's hard to keep you all apart sometimes.
Wow, thank you.
And here, I mean, I'm not going to show you all the rest, right? I'm pretty confident you guys figured out how this works by now. But then you just press OK, and now I've got my limited arsenal.
Excuse me, just a question.
Mhm.
I saw down there import and export. Can I like make a loadout and then export it and then import it whenever I want?
Good
Down
question. I don't actually know. I know you can press the clear button at least to make sure it's completely empty, like there's no more whitelist, blacklist, nothing. But I'm not sure how the import and export works.
Okay.
It says you can. It says it does it from the clipboard, so I guess you can export this, and you can save it as a text file. But like I said, if for me, if you want to just save a custom arsenal like that, the easiest for me would just be to right click and save as custom composition.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see for here, I've got US Army Limited Arsenal, US Army Limited Arsenal med scopes. I've got US Army Resupply. You know, these sort of stuff. You can just make single boxes and save them as custom compositions, and they'll save correctly. And then they're very easy to find under your compositions and custom. And so I have a US Army Limited Arsenal. Plop. Here you go. It's not on the ground for some reason, but if I go and double click it, you can see, and this one is the one that has everything that's in it.
Yeah,
you can see everything that's in there, and it just has the stuff for the US Army. And that makes your life easier. But if you want to export it as a file, I guess that works. I've never done it myself, but feel free to experiment with that. And then real quick, how to do the better inventory mod that I just showed you. You also just select the box that you want, and you go at the top, inventory manager, open. And you see it's currently empty. And this is just, like I said, optional, but I recommend it. So I wanted to give him a resupply. I just want to give him some Stanag, 30 round magazines. 855 is always a good choice. I want to give him 100 magazines, and I want to give him a 136, a couple of those, like yesterday, because you were in trouble. I couldn't use this yesterday, of course. This is why it takes a little bit longer in Zeus. I really recommend doing this sort of stuff in Eden if you can. And I want to give him some extra Maus ammunition. Or is it not? Here you go. Maus, I want to give him some Heat 75 rounds, 5 of those, and I don't know, fucking M32. MGL, I want to give him 1. And, you know, for the M32, you need some 6 round. And don't worry, all these names, it's going to take you a while to look all this up. I've been doing this for a long time. But the 6 rounders go into the M32s. I want to give them, I like to put some M32s in, give them a little bit fun in the reinforcement. So 3 times 6 rounds, so 18 plus the M42. And you're done, you know, press close. And now you've got, this isn't an arsenal, but it's just a regular box with stuff inside of it. So it's very good for resupplies. Bam, bam, bam. Easy life. Let's see. Some basic Eden tips now. Have I forgotten anything? Oh, another tip I can give you if you want to use this. If you go into settings and add-on options, and you go into load, you can, this auto gets auto-saved. So you can go to the Mutiny Gaming Operations server and press OK. And it'll import the settings. It doesn't have to do this. It's just for your own testing, so you know you're having the same servers on your computer as you have on the server, because the server automatically overrides those settings anyway with the server settings, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you're doing testing on your own end, that makes it a little bit more accurate. So I showed you how to make arsenals. I showed you how to make resupplies. I showed you how to make pretty much the mission with the respawn. Respawn's here. Let me give you some real quick tips on how to play stuff. So if we go into single objects, into op4, I don't like using CSAT. Yesterday I was using Pakistan National Army, for example, which is what I'm using Sunday as well. You can go turrets, and they have a desert nest, like here. Let's go for a little bit more challenging terrain on this hill. I want to put this desert nest on that hill, and I want it to look at that spawn, right? I'll place them down, and they always get lined up to the north, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, see, it's pointing north. So we want to line that up. Oh, it's already lined up pretty good. Kind of a bad example, but I want to make this line up the other way. want to line that up towards fucking there. Okay, you catch my drift.
Mhm.
You can hold down shift and click, and that'll turn it that direction. But the ground right now is pretty good. But what if it wasn't? If you go on your numbers above your WASD keys, 1, 2, 3, if you press 1, you get nothing. If you press 2, you get this bad boy. If you press 3, you get these. So these will help you a little bit in regards with moving stuff. This one is not so necessary because you can do all these quite easily with your key combinations. So if you hold down Alt, it can drag up and down. If you hold down Shift, you can orientate the direction. And if you if you just want to move it on the other axes, just move it with your mouse, of course, right? So place that down. If I want this to not lock onto the ground, you have surface snapping here. Oh, I didn't have that enabled. That's why I won't knock it. So if you click that, it snaps to the ground, to whatever object you have. But say that I have it on an angled hill, but I want it to still be flat. I can use this button next to it, toggle vertical mode. You can see the icon shows you what it does. Now it's flat. So if I move this thing, it'll stay in the orientation that it was, even if I go up and down. But if I use shift and rotate it, bam, it's perfectly flat. So now this is a perfectly flat bunker. This doesn't always work, especially on steeper hills. It has a little bit of ground below it. As you can see, it just about reaches the ground here, so it's not too bad. But this is all stuff that you can play around with yourself, and be comfortable with. If I place down a new one and I have this sort of vertical mode flat like this, it'll always make it flat. And this is really an important one to have. Wait, why is it not flat? It's supposed to be flat. Okay, I don't know. It's supposed to be flat. But this is a good button to have in case you drop in a custom composition. So if I go to my custom and I've built something, like I built an arena a long time ago for stuff, I'll show you the difference. It's kind of intensive, but beautifully flat, right? But if I didn't tick that button, I'll place it down again. Shit goes all over the place because it takes into account for the ground elevation, and I don't know why it's so high, but it just goes all wonky. So placing down stuff might be convenient. Good buttons to know. Other than that, there's not really anything super important. Like the rotation grid and all that, you can fuck around with. I'll let you all figure that out in your own accord. But now, pretty much, let's say you have your mission file completed. Oh, hang on. No, I'm going to go to the modules with you first. See, this is why I still need to. I need to write this sort of stuff down because there's so much shit. You need to have like a logical order of explaining stuff. I just do my best here. But if we're going to modules, systems, modules, let's go down the list and see what we have available. Stuff that I use. A lot of this sort of stuff is not really for Eden, but more for in Zeus. So I'm gonna skip a lot of shit. Fortify, you can set limits to the Fortify tool. I don't know if you've played around with that one yet, but you can set some limitations with how much they get available if you want to use it for a specific op. Civilian presence, like ambience, you can play with that. I don't really do that myself. I just pop down a couple civilians if I need them. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. I don't really need that. Here we go, like a chem light module. You can place down, bam, you make some chem lights be there preemptively, set the color for them. These modules kind of speak for themselves. Environment. Oh, this is a good one. Hide terrain objects. Tex showed me this one recently. I never used to know this was a thing, but you can do this. Place it down, and that's how it works. You don't see this thing in the game, of course. This is just for in Eden, but you can hide stuff with it if you don't want it. You can also hide trees with it, like bushes.
Wait, the terrain thingy, right? Yeah. Yeah,
hide terrain. And you can increase the size of it, and you can also change what you want it to hide exactly. So if I go this, and I make it like 100 by 100, even though it's a circle, I don't know how that works, but whatever. You can also make the square, I guess. Here, you can hide all that all those bushes, or...
The 100 on the circle changes it to an oval shape.
It's not
That's
an oval
what-
shape, my
Yeah,
dude.
it goes.
No, but like if
100
you make it 120, for example, it'll make it to an oval.
Yeah, because it goes by X and Y directions. So X 100, Y 100.
I feel like if you give those dimensions, it shouldn't be a fucking circle. You should just make it a square, but a rectangle, I should say. But that's just me. So yeah, that's how that one works. Recommended. Good mod to have. Good module to have. Sorry. I really never used that one too much before, and it makes your life a lot more difficult when you're trying to place like bases and stuff. Not important. Respawn position. I've already showed you. There's so many modules, man. Animals is one that you can find in Zeus as well, but you can pre-place them. So you want to have like goats. I don't know, 30. You don't see them, but the moment you spawn in, there'll be 30 fucking goats sitting here.
Yeah, that's what you like. Goats in every Dutchie up.
I like to put goats in. I'm a fan. There wasn't one
And,
yesterday.
The yellow car that you always send to me.
I haven't done that in ages. I need to put that one in again. Maybe Sunday.
Can't wait for it.
Good man. Blah blah blah. Nothing important. I thought there was more important stuff to show you guys in here, but I guess there's not that many modules that I use.
So, triggers. I've never seen anyone use triggers before.
Well, it's not very hard. It's just that you need a reason to use them. I know if you want to get a lot people that know a lot about this, like Skep and Sorts and Marius, they tend to use this, even in Texas.
Marius.
Yeah, I don't tend to use them myself because I feel like they're quite unnecessary most of the case because you're Zeusing anyway, so you're controlling stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
But you can set it up so that, you know, people cross into a certain thing and then people start coming out and stuff. Like I said, I'm just Zeusing anyway, so I'll just control people if I need to. But if you want to, you can get into that. I don't have too much information about it though. I know how you can place them. The triggers are over here, and you can set down it's like a 500 meter.
And then it'll execute like some sort of code or something.
Exactly. For example, in one mission, Skep had an airfield set up or a base with a helipad, and he had repair and refuel and rearm script on the trigger. So the moment you get in the thing, it would engage. That sort of stuff you can do. Like I said, I don't bother with it myself, but if you fancy it, you know, there's just Google out there. You can find out a lot of these sort of things.
If you need, Marius has an EMP script which works really well with triggers actually.
Yeah, it might be a little bit advanced right now, but yeah, if you want to get into that, there's EMP scripts out there. I know Candles uses a frost script for like those cold missions. It's like feels like you're in the snowstorm.
Yeah, this one is cool.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff you can do for yourself. I'm trying to think. Some compositions I've shown you. Civilians are here. Oh, under here, compositions and props. You guys played around with these yet?
The bases and structure stuff.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you taught me about it quite a bit ago. I used them in one of my ops. So.
Well, it's a very easy way to just make quick missions. Like I think I used this one yesterday, for example, maybe a different color one.
I can't be bothered to make my own.
Yeah, you can. But the thing is, a lot of people forget. But you can place down a camp like this, and you can still modify it, right? You don't have to leave it like this. I can drag this out here, and then go back here and find myself some artillery, for example. I mean, this is kind of a stupid example, but you catch my drift. Like I've got an artillery truck here, and I can place this guy in there. And I don't know, this one is right on here, but it's got legs, so you can place these over the thing like that, save you a little bit more space. You can make it look a little bit more custom really quickly, but you get all the stuff already, and especially the sandbag walls are a lot of work. So that's an easy way to circumvent that. Yeah, compositions make your life just a lot easier. Yesterday, for example, when you had those sandbag walls, real quick way to do that. Actually, no, it's a bunker line is what it's called. So you type bunker in compositions props, bunker line this one, and you get that. Boom.
Oh, this one's cool.
If you want to, you must remember these from yesterday. If you want to make a really quick defensive line, you know, you set them up like this. I placed another one down.
I died there yesterday.
World War II be like.
Not really straight. I'm not really doing this neatly, of course. Normally you take a little bit more time for this. I'm sure you guys catching that. But yeah, that's how you make a real quick bunker line like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't take you anywhere, because placing down walls is just such a pain. And then you just go into Op 4 and you go into your National Army. You got turrets, and I like to use the cord. The U16 has like a long tripod under it. Place that, boom, easy life. You know, that's just your thing done. You know, say I want to put some sandbag walls on top, boom, go to props, type of sandbag. Actually, why did I even type it? There's sandbags back here. You can take these, copy paste them, and then drag them up. Put another one down.
Oh, and it snaps as well. That's really nice.
It snaps, and that's what I'm saying. You can, but I don't want these to snap right now, because the sandbag walls, if they snap, they tend to have. I don't think it'll be too bad on this because it has some sandbags on top anyway. But normally you get a little gap underneath them.
Oh.
Also, a lot of the weapons that you can place on these are not very high. So if I place it like this, and I want to put a oh, this is fucking. It's annoying, but it always goes back to the base one. But you go this, and you got turrets, and you want to put an SPG-9, for example. Put that on top, and you see it's got the perfect little. It's almost a little bit too high, even still.
Yeah.
Drop that down just a smidge more, and give this man a little bunker, like position. So that's how you can make stuff like real custom, real quick. I mean, real custom, right? How custom can it get? But that's just quick stuff. I showed you all those things. For planes, it might be fun to know that you can change the pylons real quick on these. So you drop a plane down, you double click it. Like some objects have specific settings for that vehicle. Usually they're down the bottom. So this one has enable randomization. This overrides Eden assigned skins. Okay, so you can untick that. Some of them have like more interesting options, but you got that, and then you got the pylon settings at the top for planes, which are usually closed. But you can change the loadout on this, for example, if you want to have different weapons. You can do that really quickly. If I were to place down that CH-47 again, you can go into settings, and you can adapt what kind of defenses he has, but you can also... Oh, okay, I thought that was in that option, so I guess it's in Garage. It doesn't show up in here, but if I go right-click and I go into Edit Vehicle Appearance, you see, look in the back, I can go into this one, and I can hide the cargo benches, for example.
Ooh,
That's what you do by right-clicking and going Vehicle shit. I guess this one only has one color scheme, but sometimes you can also change the paint. That sort of shit. You guys have any questions about Eden that I forgot?
Not from my side.
Yeah, I think this is. Oh, you got all the markers here, of course. So if you want to put an arrow down, place it, double click. Oh, you can change the color. I like to use blue 4 for safe areas. Text, I don't know. Objective A is that direction or whatever. You can do the color intensity. Press OK, and you can hold down Shift again and align this to where you want it to point.
So I can set like the map icons and stuff from Eden without putting.
And then they're not deletable in the game.
Oh, okay.
Oh, actually, quick question: how do you make Because I know, how do you make the compositions? Like you have compositions for supply boxes and.
That's what I just said. You select them. So I want to make this. I might just these guys on right click them, and then I save as composition, save custom composition.
Okay.
Very simple, and then you can select the folder to put them in. Like you can see under the compositions, you have I mean, they don't really make sense, right? I put them under A1 roads and A2 roads and blocks and I don't know, fire station, but you can go as nuts with that as you want. And then if you're done making your mission, you're gonna go to the top and you're gonna say save. You're gonna say, well, save as, I guess. You want to save it as whatever file you have. This doesn't really matter, but make sure it's saved normally. And then once it's saved, you want to go to export to multiplayer. That's the last important thing I can tell you, because when you export it, it turns into a PBO file. So that's easy to send to us, one of the mods or one of the staff, whoever has access right now. It's only the mods, I think. But export it turns into a PBO. The only important thing with that, it turns into a PBO, but it does not save in your document settings where normally all your save games are. It saves in the root folder of your Arma. So if your Arma is like wherever your Steam folder is, go and look it up and look up your Arma folder, and there will be an MP missions folder inside of that, and that's where your PBO file will be located. Okay, that's important because it made me really nuts in the beginning when I couldn't find my save files. It was just because they're in a different folder than what I was used to. So root folder of your Arma is where those get stored. Okay, let's delete all this crap, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do a regular Zeus mission real quick. So I want to do a real quick Zeus mission on one of the base game files that we have on the server, but I want to do it in Zeus. So I open up my editor at home. I go anywhere on the map. It's empty right now, right? I double click, and I can place down a guy. It automatically wants you to place down a rifleman. You press OK, easy life. Place down a rifleman. He is selected as player. We're going to play as single player. It's fine. Don't need to start a multiplayer server for this. And recently, I'm not sure what mod this comes from, but it updated. So if you're logged in on the server, you should be able to do this as well. If you're logged in as admin, you ace direct on yourself. You can create Zeus in the top left. It'll take a second. It'll have a small stroke. Give it a second to recapture it. So it gives you a couple errors as well in single player, but that's fine. Press your Zeus key. Again, for me, that's P. For most people, the default, it's Y, your ping button. And then it's going to have another aneurysm before it gets you into the Zeus screen.
Wait, excuse me. What's the difference between create Zeus from the S menu and pressing Y?
Because I've created the Zeus when I click that thing, but I'm not actually in the Zeus screen yet, if you catch my drift. So it'll just make me a Zeus. It'll add the module to me. But for me to actually go into this screen, I still need to press the key. So if I press I've created Zeus, I'm still going to be Zeus. But if I press my Zeus key again, I'm just going to go back to being a regular dude. Understand? So if I press my Zeus key again now, I don't have to make a Zeus again. I'm still Zeus. I just need to click my Zeus button again to go back into the screen.
Okay, so who got the permission to do that from the S menu?
If you're logged in as admin on the server, I think you should be able to do it, but it doesn't always do it. It's kind of wonky.
Okay.
Okay, so now my guy is this. I'm in Zeus. Everyone's happy. I like to close this screen. Press E and R. You can close these. You can also click at the top if you're lazy. If you don't know how to, you don't remember the keybind. Okay, I'm in Zeus. You can see, I can even see these fucking rabbits walking around. I want to make a mission right now. I want to make a mission, but I want to do it real basic, real quick, because I don't have time or whatever. You know, I really recommend making them in editor. It's quicker for me, but if some people really prefer this. So I'm in Zeus right now. I'm going to make an objective. So I'm going to go to compositions real quick. I'm going to go military, just drop an outpost. I don't like Audacity. It has a stupid tower in the middle, but is it Bravery that has a tower? Maybe it's Bravery that has a tower. Yeah. So I want this one. Oh, give it a second to recover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
No, because Zeus desyncs so much.
Yeah, it's terrible. But I think Texas posted a client-side mod for it that we can use, and that has like a Zeus cache, so it's not so bad. Camp is here again. Like I said, you may make changes to this a little bit if you want to make it look a little bit more. I don't know, whatever your style is. Don't forget though that this is Zeus, so anything that you do, it's gonna happen real time. That's why I really prefer doing stuff in Eden, because it's easier. But this is your choice. I want to place that container over here. You know, it looks a little bit nicer. I'm gonna go into here, and I'm gonna get some turrets out. Like I said, I like to go for the chords. They make a cool sound, and they're just chunky boys, you know. Again, this is the reason I don't like working in Zeus. You know, this sort of shit.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna drag this guy and put him up here. Oh, see, this is why I don't work in Zeus. You can make it work. So drag him around. Okay, now he's sort of where he needs to be. So I'm really not gonna bother doing that more often than I need to, because that's really too much work for me. I'll do everything in editor nowadays, almost. We've got a desert nest. I don't know, place that motherfucker up here or something.
That works.
Sticks out a little bit, but you know,
Yeah.
just making something real quick, real ugly here for you. Let's get some helicopter. We want, I don't know, a hind parked up. Whew, that could have gone really quickly, badly, but we made it. But then me, you know, I couldn't handle the fact that there's a helicopter, but it hasn't a helipad. I mean, I shouldn't even be able to handle the fact that it's parked up in between such a close space. That doesn't make sense for helicopters, regardless. But there's no helipad to go with it. I mean, what is this? Anarchy, right? You can go here, and I like to go for the square helipad. Okay, so, okay, that's better.
Perfect.
Not really perfect, but Pakistan doesn't have the greatest pilots. So. Bam, bam. We go put some cars in there. I don't know, a BDRM and a gas Vodnik, you know, the one you went up against yesterday.
Yeah, this thing.
Okay, and then we go to groups, and we'll go National Army again. Go infantry. Sentries are always like two-man things, so you know, you place two here, place two there, place two there. I mean, they all start like linking up to things as well. It's fucking annoying. I'm really biased towards going and Eden, but you can do it this way. You go to a quick mission right now. I can even place down a marker for it on the map. Place a marker for fucking who knows. Go up for, and I'll say objective alpha. Easy life, mission complete. I can set another patrol, so I'll take a fire team with AT. I'll drag them to the center. That guy is just there, that's fine. I will go patrol in my modules. Sorry if this is going a little bit quick. If I need to repeat something, don't worry, you can ask me. I'll drop the patrol module on this guy. I usually don't even change these settings. And now you can set, he's got a patrol path set up. If you set up a patrol that way, I like to double click that the unit box or whatever you call that, the little square fucking thing. And you can set them to happy, and you make them walk slow, and I like to set them to column. Especially if you're doing this on the fly during operations, they like to start running and be really in combat mode already, and you don't want that, so you can set these sort of things around here. Sometimes they're lying on the ground, you don't want that, but I like change all that in here. Also the skill level if you want. I usually just don't touch the skill level, seems to be okay for me. So column, and then they'll do a nice column fucking patrol around the base. So now your objective is set up. In the Zeus file, you don't need to do the spawns and people if you use the base files, because it's already set up for you. You just need to make like a spawn in the beginning. But now I want to save this, right? So I'll go back to my modules, and I'll go to development tools, and there is copy mission SQF. You want to drop that anywhere. You can select the radius of it. Usually people want to do the entire map, but you could also just want to do like a specific objective, so you can limit it. Include AI, I mean, probably you want to have all this stuff included, right? If you want to even include the marker I put down just now, those are those markers on the map. You can say yes, bam, and it gives you this chunk of text. Select all of it, Control A, Control C, open the text file or Word file, whatever, and you can save it in there, and your mission is saved. Actually, let me just do that, so I can show you what it looks like. Copy. I'm going to save everything. I'm not actually going to save it in the file, but you catch my drift. I'm going to delete this fucking shit. Now there's nothing. If I drop down the execute code module anywhere, delete whatever is left in there, Control V, and if you're on the server, muy importante, set it to server. I know, it's crazy stuff, right? But you got to set it to server.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Press OK. On the server, this might take a bit longer. It's not a fast process sometimes. But here you go. In effect, Dansky, your objective is ready to go. Some people actually make their missions so that the individual objectives get posted like this and then just come back. Top tips I can give you for this is don't place your vehicles too close together. If you spawn them back in, it'll sometimes clip into each other and explode. So try and keep at least a decent amount of space between stuff. So I placed this now. You can see I can't select these boxes anymore. These Hesco bags. I can't select this. I want to change the lamp that's here. The lamp's fucking annoying me, right? So I'll go into my modules and I'll type in edit. And it'll give me two different ones. You got update editable objects and you got add remove editable objects. It's kind of weird and kind of stupid, but sometimes one of them works and the other doesn't. I usually just go with the first one, place that down. If it doesn't, again, just try the other one. Sometimes it's shit stupid. Objects, 100 meters, add object, blah, blah. I don't usually change this. And here you go. Everything here is now editable. And I can take this lamp and place it there because that's where I want it to be. I want it to shine at the entrance. That sort of shit. So like if you make stuff in Eden and you get to it in the mission on game day and you need to change stuff and you can't select it, type edit in modules and you get these modules for it. You can start doing stuff. So making squads works the same way. We've got this guy over here, but I don't want him to be part of this people's squad anymore. So I'll hold control, click up, drag up. This guy's now a separate entity. This guy is a loyal soldier. He wants to still be with his buddy, so I'm going to drag him over here. I'm going to do the same thing for him. Oh, just to stop him running. And I want him to be in the same squad. Hold down control. Bam. These people are now in the same squad. Life is easy. Let's go down through the modules. I hope I didn't forget anything. I'm sure I did, so don't worry. Oh, Reasons tab also is a top tip from. I like to use this. I'm here all the time when I'm zeusing. All the stuff that you just place it down again. Reasons tab, very good. Saves you from having to search stuff. Because every time you have to search stuff in one of those long lists, as you can see, it desyncs the game. Free CB effects, you got a Scud missile that you can use. Once does a big boom. You can go. Fuck, there's so many here. I don't really use most of these. I do use toggle flashlights. You can drop that anywhere if you're doing a night mission, but you don't want them to have NVGs, but you do want them to be able to be spotted easily or be able to see some stuff. Do your flashlights enable. You can add the gear for it, yes, and you can set the target op for. And now all the op for will get flashlights and all that stuff. NVGs has a module that works pretty much the same way, but instead of doing it on the ground now, I'm going to drop it on just this dude and his squad. And now, enable NVG equipment, I can just say, selected group is a different option now, because I put it on a specific guy. So I can just give it to that group if he wants it. But I can still give it to all of Op4 as well. So now all of Op4 has the night vision gear. So this stuff is important for night missions. Okay, those are pretty much all the ones I use in there.
Quick question: does the AI control the NVGs as fit? Like if it's daylight, it's like dynamic, right? And I started at like the dawn or something, and it's really dark. But after a half an hour or something, it gets bright. So does the AI remove the NVGs?
It doesn't remove them, but it'll take them off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll just give them, like, if you give it to them, pretty much they can see in the night. If you don't give it to them, they can't see in the night. Same with flashlights.
Okay.
And with flashlights, they can just not see quite as far. So it's a good limited way. I tend to not give enemies NVGs, but you can if you want to make it a little bit more challenging. Arsenal, yeah? Do you have a question, right? Yeah. Merchants, fuck's sake. You people sound the exact same. Add full ace arsenal. This is the module for it. Instead of doing it in Eden, it's very easy. You can drop it on something that can be an arsenal. I don't think maybe the container can be. No, the container can be, I guess. Not everything can be an arsenal, but you can make a truck an arsenal. You can make certain boxes and things in arsenal. Not everything can be an arsenal, but a lot of things. Ace captive. This is a good one. So if you want to do. You can do this in the attributes of people as well under behavior settings. But if you want to do it on Zeus, toggle captive. They'll become civilian, so they won't get shot, and they're captive. And you can also toggle them to just surrender. Oh, this one's captive now, but surrender does just the hands up in here. What?
I set one as captive. I controlled the unit and I started screaming at Skep, and Skep just shot me in the head. And then reported into command. They got caught in the crossfire.
It happens. It happens buttons. Assign medic. You can give people medic and all that. There's 2 different heal options. One of them is the full heal that just works on infantry. This heal, the one with the blue icon, it works on vehicles as well, it seems, but only with mixed results. So you can play around with them. Another top tip for Zeus, by the way, a lot of even experienced Zeus I see that don't know this, but if you want to teleport someone, you can just find the teleport module. You can actually teleport people into a moving vehicle as well. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm blue force, I'll just get shot. But so if there's a convoy on the move and you want to reinforce them, you don't have to tell that convoy to stop moving so you can TP someone next to them so they can get in. You can just drop them directly into the vehicle. Or for example, if an exfil takes place and they forget someone and they don't want to bother with them having to go back and pick them up, you can just drop the teleport module on a flying helicopter and it'll TP people over inside. So good tips to know. Capital we had, medic we had, so you can assign medic perms. Toggle unconscious, you can drop this on a vehicle too. If you have a plane and the guy is like saying he's unconscious, you can drop that on him and get him back to consciousness, and make him do stuff again. He'll be happy about that. Repair, assign engineer. This is again for the engineer perk. Ace utility. Configure pylons is a good one. That's for the planes again. If you wanna, this is not a plane, of course. Oh, here is one. Configure pylons. I can fix all the pylons on the go. Pick preset loadouts as well. I can remove an arsenal with this key. I can add removed fries system. I don't think that'll work on this helicopter per se, but on some of the Americans, fries is for the fast grip. So if you don't have fries, you can't fast grip. I think it goes on like the UH-60 and the, I don't know, at least the UH-60, maybe the Huey as well. No idea. Sorry, there's a lot of talking. I know it's kind of boring at times, but I'm just trying to make sure you guys.
It's perfect.
Okay, good. Garrison buttons, and there's a whole bunch of different things here. Ambient animation. So I have these nerds here. I want this guy to do like a cool, relaxed stand idle thing. Okay, that wasn't really a big change. Okay, there you go. Look at him waving his hand around. So natural and real. We can also make him do a briefing. Yeah, that sort of stuff. He loves it. That guy loves it. Have a seat. I don't really use all of these though. I don't know how, I'm not the greatest guy for Zeus trips. I kind of make do with what I know. But I can have these guys. This guy here, for example. I want him to. I'll make him his own squad, and I want him to be in that thing. And it doesn't work for every building, but the garrison building instant is the one I always use. Drop that on anyone. There you go. It'll place them in buildings. Right now it's a radio tower or a watchtower, but you can also place them in buildings and stuff. They won't go out of it, which is good. Especially if you have objectives close to each other and you don't want all the guys from one objective to run to another. It's good to garrison them inside buildings so they don't run away on you. AI can be really annoying like that. But then again, we did take away our AI mod recently, just for testing. So AI are a bit more docile now. I don't know. I don't use search and garrison and all that stuff. I showed you how to patrol them already. Yeah, you can ungarrison them as well. It's a good one to know if you want to start walking again. He's now released. He's got a animation, so he's still not going to go anywhere. But now if there's enemies nearby, they'll start running that way and help out. Animals, you guys know me. Big fan. Big fan of the goats. Very nice, easy way to make stuff feel a little bit more interesting.
The question is, can you set them as bomber? Can you make them suicide bombers?
I know there's a way to do it. I've never done that myself. I like to
do that in one op.
If I do it, I'll go this way and I'll show you real quick. So I'll say I have on the road that I want to do like Afghanistan type of ambush situation. Yeah, you got a couple goats. You need your Pakistan civilian goat herder. He needs to be right there, of course. And I like to go into my ambient animation and make this guy do the shielding from the sun thing. Shield from sun. Oh, he doesn't even have a gun. Come on, dude. What? Why are you not shielding? Okay. Well, that's stupid. Don't know. Anyway, the guy is standing next to it. Imagine there's a road going across. All right. You type in your modules. You type explosive. You can also find these individual ones, but the module might be easier, especially if you don't know all the different names. So you plop that down anywhere. I don't really use minefield much. It makes a whole minefield, but you can go explosive, and then you can take whatever you want. So the IEDs are very popular, for me at least. You can go all the way down and take IEDs with pressure plates. Normally I use pressure plates, but if you put goats over them, they don't like pressure plates. They'll just set them off. That'll be a nasty situation. So that way it'd be best to just go for a regular IED, go for a large one and dug in. Okay. Our IED is now set. There's an American convoy coming from there, and now they're right over here by goats, and they drive around it, and I want to scare them anyway. So you click on the bomb, and this works for people as well, but click end on your keyboard above your arrow keys.
Oh,
that looks really gnarly.
But yeah.
So that works on people as well. If sometimes there's a guy in a spot and your friendlies can't get him and you want to help him out a little bit, like he's on especially, which ones are they? The bunker positions, these ones. These guys, as you can see, that guy was also near the explosion. These guys just don't die very easily sometimes. So if you want to help him out a little bit, you can just click on that guy and you click end. It doesn't look so natural for the bunkers, I guess, but it makes them die instead of deleting them. So that makes it a little bit more natural. You can think, oh, maybe a friendly shot them or something, you know, instead of just straight out deleting them, which looks like this. That looks a little bit more natural, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So explosives you can use for that, but like I said, if you want to find those individual explosives, so IED for example, you can also just type that under props. It'll take you a second for it to search.
I'm sorry.
And I've clicked enter multiple times in Ethernet editor. Make sure you don't do that.
That's it's annoying. Don't worry, it still happens to you no matter how long you try.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
What does N do on vehicle? Does it destroy it?
Yes. Okay. It explodes it.
Perfect.
That's what I said yesterday when I told you, remember those tanks that flipped over and that wouldn't do anything? I was really annoyed. I just clicked all them and pressed end so they all exploded. So it looked a little bit like something happened at least instead of stupid fucking physics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I told you can find these as well right under here. So small ID dug in, for example, there's different ones. You know, you can place them that way too, whichever is more convenient for you. We use the module for it. Let's see other modules. Where were we at? Add full ace arsenal, add full arsenal. I don't use that one. You want to use the ace arsenal. I don't really use any of this. Animals I showed you. Audio, I'm not going to show you that right now, but you can place down this thing and you can select it to play ambient sounds.
Ah, yes, that natural alarm sound.
Yeah, it always does a really big desync the first time you place it down, but after that it's okay. Don't use any of that myself. Development tools I showed you how to copy and execute the SQF stuff. Environment, you can do some weather stuff on the fly. You got advanced weather, which is a little bit more like in the editor. You can also do simple weather, basic pictures. The time acceleration by default, 1 time speed, so normal speed. You can also set it to 0, so the time is paused if you want like a specific time of day, or you can make it go real fast, whatever. Earthquake, I don't even really use that much, but you can, you know, it does this. It makes your screen a little foggy and supposedly things shake around. I mean, it's not the greatest mechanic, in my opinion. You can use it. There's heaps of those sort of thing that you can play with. Fire support. Oh, here's one of my favorite modules. As you guys must have noticed yesterday. You smart buggers that you guys... I know you guys were going to go for Bravo first. I was hoping I just said Alpha Bravo Charlie, but I knew that you know, any smart man would have taken Bravo first, so that was a good call. But I still got some shots off on you. So I'll go to National Army. This is not the right one. I'll go to my turrets, and I'll place down some these howitzers. Let's schwack them here. Make sure they're all in the same squad for convenience sake, and line them up somewhere. It's a little bit close. This mechanic is a little bit wonky. It doesn't always work, but just real quick on how to operate this. You want to create target in the under the fire support modules. Target alpha. A laser is only for like planes and stuff if you need it, but generally they do that all themselves on the ground, so you don't have to worry about it. Market target's marked. I can drop down the artillery fire mission on any one of these guys. So the squad leader guy I usually go for. Don't have to change any of these settings. And then number of units involved, I want them all 3 to fire. I want each of them to fire 2 rounds each. You can select the different rounds here. You can Google what they're higher exactly. The first one is just HE. You can set the exact target you want, target alpha, and I usually set the position to about 25 meters, depending on how big I want of a spread. And see how this is stupid. Sometimes this shit work, sometimes it don't. I don't even know what I do wrong. Sometimes I feel like I'm too close, sometimes I'm too far away. I tried to bomb you guys with a BM-21 yesterday as well, but it didn't do anything. Ah, this shit pisses me off. I don't even know why.
Do you have to place it on the guy specifically, or?
Yeah. You fucking joking?
Wait,
Is that it? Is it? I think it has to do something with line of sight as well. Too close? Because yesterday I was firing that way closer at you guys and I was doing the exact same thing. Maybe I need to just look into this myself. I just don't know much enough about it. Okay, there you go. He's found it. This shit, like I said, it's not great. This guy is taking his time to fire as well.
the third guy doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he's probably like not lined up or something correctly again. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I
not
recommend
reliable.
if you do have artillery in your operations to test them beforehand. I didn't test it yesterday, so I'm quite pleased that they actually worked fine. We had no issues. But yeah, it is a little funky. You might have to look up maybe you Google that a little bit about the mechanics behind it. But that's basically how it works. So you place a target and you drop a fire support artillery fire mission module on the peoples, and they'll start engaging it. So.
Oh, did you have artillery support last mission?
Yeah, enemy artillery support. Oh, you weren't there yesterday. Yeah, they were firing at people.
No, I was at work.
That's all good. If you want to be a basic bitch, there's also these modules at the top, like the 155 howitzer, which is pretty much the same thing, maybe a little bit bigger. You got the 230 mil, and you have just an 82 millimeter mortar. So you don't have to place on any units for that. They always work. So if you do need a last minute fix, you can go that way. The mortar, these are all things. Atomic bomb, I'm not going to do right now because it crashes the server, but I'm sure you can figure all that out. You can also do even like a cast strike. Like you want a gun run on this with an A10, but you don't have an A10 pilot right now. You can do one real quick. Although it does take a little bit of desync after you place it down. Give it a sec. Yeah, this takes a while. Okay, so we have an A10. Of course, I want it to be an A10 Charlie because I'm not disgusting.
Oh,
That's it.
look at
Select
that.
the plane you want.
Look at how precise this is going to be.
I'm not sure if it despawns the plane when it's done. I think it's supposed to, but it doesn't.
It doesn't,
okay.
yeah. It just flies it around and waits for another order.
Really? Does it not just spawn a new plane when you give it the same order?
Yeah, but then there's 2 random planes flying in the air.
Beautiful.
So that's a easier way to get a quick strike if you need it. Making all these flyboys unnecessary. No explosions? Okay, good. Suppressive fire is also one that we like to say we have a target here. We have I want a Vodnik or something. Give me a Vodnik with a 30 mil cannon. I have this guy over here. I have my target still set up. It might be a little bit far away, actually. It's not the best system. I think you can see. Okay, I'll drop the suppressive fire module on this guy. Suppress, target alpha. Blah blah blah. Automatic. Yeah, it can be 50.
50 what?
Sections.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And now you
perfect.
can make this like anyone be like suppressive without actually shooting people. If you want, it's like a little bit hard or something, you can set that up. Okay. My ears hurt, so I'm gonna delete that guy.
Holy fuck.
But that's how you can set up some suppressive fire on a target. Probably add some spread to it too if you want. But again, that works with the create target, and you drop the suppressive model on the guy that you want firing. Objectives, I don't use that. This, I don't use that. Maybe the attached to, but not really. Players, oh, it's change side of players. I don't have any enemies left, they're all dead.
I'm guessing it changes to like.
Yeah, just
Main
change
or
the side. There's different modules for it. Some of them work better than others, but you can change the entire group or just select a player, make him blue for, and
And he's gonna die.
there you go. That'll kill him. This teleport one, I don't really use that. I use just the other teleport like I showed you before. Reinforcements is one I was using yesterday. You want to watch out with that one because it takes a lot of frames. Like it's not always the most optimized system, but it works pretty okay most of the time. For that to work, you want to create an LZ. This is where they're going to dismount the vehicle. And you want to create an RP. This is where they're going to be walking to. So say there's friendlies in here. I want them to walk in there and fuck shit up, right? And I want them to dismount at this location. I've got my LZ and my RP set up. Over here, I'll go spawn units, which is the third one in that list. This one takes a second to load up. Because, you know, Arma. Oh, that's pretty quick. The interesting thing about this is I can use a vehicle from a different faction than the actual people want them to drop them off. So say I have a faction like Islamic State, right? But they're working together with the Russians. I don't know, this is a weird story, but it makes sense. Go Russia, VDV, which is like the Air Force for Russia, and I'll select their helicopter, and I'll select a MI8, MT, whatever. For helicopters, I'll leave it to RTP and despawn. I'll set it to LZ Alpha, I'll set it to land, and I'll set the people that I want to be dropped off, like their partners in this weird operation. I want them to be Islamic State.
My guys.
And I want them to be a weapons squad. I want them to go to RP Alpha, and I want them to be in. You can set their unit behavior. I usually do combat or cautious. You can see it spawns the helicopter over. You can even do this over water, doesn't matter. It spawns it above land already. And this was very short distance, of course. With this, like what I was doing yesterday, I like to, if you hold control and double click, you take over the unit as in Zeus control. I like to do this manually. If you're good at flying at least, because it makes it look a little bit more fluid. AI is super slow doing this, so you can drop it down anywhere, doesn't matter where. The moment you touch down, they're going to start dismounting at the slowest imaginable pace, but they're doing it, and they're in combat. These are my Islamic State fighters coming out of a Russian aircraft. You can see I've got Russian pilots in there. Oh, they're 3, 5. Yep, they're all out. Okay, so I'm going to take back off, and I'm going to release my UAV controls by scrolling down, and it's going to take a second because, you know, it's Arma.
Arma.
And it's going to finish off the rest of the trip, hopefully without interference. It should just go back to where it started and despawn. I guess it still has some stuff to drop off. Normally what I do is I'll make them drop off all the guys, and I'll just fly off map, and I'll delete it. But that's all stuff for you to find out. You can do the same thing with ground units, of course. Reinforcements, spawn units. I can make that be a car I want it to be a... Oh, VDV doesn't have very good cars. I want it to be like a fucking Euro or something. Middle East militia. You guys must have trucks. Oh no, these guys have nothing. Very poorly equipped people. Tanoan Liberation Army. Come on. Oh, come on. These people have nothing.
Is it not a truck though?
I'll just go Africa Militia. I don't want the basic truck. It's ugly, but okay, you can use it. So for trucks, I don't like to make it RTB and despawn. I like to make it state LZ because it doesn't really make sense for the trucks to go back normally. But you can do either way. Again, LZ Alpha, blah, blah, blah. I'll leave all that the same. That's fine. And hey, presto. Now we have a truck. And the truck will be heading there. And it'll drop those people off. And they'll start assaulting that place. I don't like using this truck. I think it looks lame as fuck.
Look how beautiful it is.
Yeah,
You
it's
see its
okay.
uniqueness? Oh my god. Oh yeah.
Boom, there you go. They got a vehicle. They start killing shit. They don't do this at the... It's a very leisurely pace. Yeah, I know. These people are never in a rush. These fucking AI. The driver tends to stay in this situation because I told him to stay at LZ. So I'll go on there. If you click on the vehicle with guys inside, you press G on the keyboard, golf. They'll dismount everything that's left. So this guy will be the last one. I'll just tell him to go there as well. Go fuck shit up, dude.
I
probably won't because it's AI.
I tried before V, and V makes them soft dismount. I think.
Does it?
I think, yeah. I tried it before.
Tips. I didn't know that. Hang on, let me try that.
I tried it in the op that we made, me and Mortez. And I think, yeah,
Okay, the driver got out first, so I can't really say. I think that might just be the AI though. I'll test that out. I didn't know that. Supply drop works the same way. I can plop that down somewhere and do stuff. I haven't played with this so much, so I can't really say. Look at this. He's got a. I don't know. He's gonna go do stuff. I don't know. I don't use that one. But
this truck gives me PTSD.
Again, that's the way to do it. If you do need, like yesterday, for example, when Kelson called in for a supply box, I didn't have one ready at that time. So what I did is I went into this in my props. I type in HLC. Give that a second to collect itself.
I think I know what you're gonna do. Maybe.
Probably, yeah. It's not the most complicated thing, but it's not a big fan.
Like make a parachute down, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that in a second. But first, I need to make what's inside of it, right? So I've got my box now, and this is an HLC ACR supply box, so it'll have stuff for the ACR inside, which I'm sure people don't want. So I'm gonna double click it, and you can see in the bottom the bar is filled up. So it's completely full of stuff. You got 5 AC, heaps of shit. Clear the whole thing. Now it's empty. Okay, and this system is just not as great as the one that comes with the Freedom Better inventory, but I'll just select a couple things. There's no search function here, as far as I know. So I'll go down and I'll take some M4A1s.
Oh yes, the Colt.
That's what they need. Okay, and I scroll down, and for some reason it has the ammo. It's stupid, but you go here. Now I need some Stanex to go with it, otherwise they haven't got nothing. Stanek Ranger. There's so many different ammo types, and you sort of have to know what goes with what. If you want to do one that goes on all the M4s and M16s, the 30-round Stanek M855 is always a good call. It just seems to go on anything. You can't even hold down shift to add like 5 at a time, like in the arsenal. So I added 30 magazines to it, and bam. Okay, that's real quickly. I just put some stuff inside. That's done. And now you want to make this parachute in. Yeah, you're right. You just drag it into the air. So I drag it over here. And I hold Alt, drag it up as high as I could. It's a little bit low because my screen was fading down, but you know, you can see I'm actually as the parachute and it'll start doing the thing. And if you want to be a little fancy with it, like yesterday, people wouldn't. I wasn't sure people could see the box, so I'll type in effect in here, spawn effect. And a lot of times these airdrops they come with like some smoke, so I'll go smoke grenade.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go orange smoke. Yeah, it's hard to find sometimes. When you do paradrop stuff, they often do have a smoke that pops when it hits the ground, so people can find it easier. And this is just one way to make that happen a little bit, make it look a little bit more fancy. But yeah, those supply boxes, they're just easier to make in Eden if you can do it preemptively. So if you know what weapons they have, if it's pre-made loadouts, you can add all the correct ammo already and stuff and make these preset resupply boxes. But this is all work, you know, this just takes time. You don't have to, but it's just that's just the quality of your mission, I guess. Okay, fire support covered. We had this, we had that. Reinforcements we've covered. The respawn, you can place down more respawns. Blue 4 respawns, independent respawns. I mean, this is just that's not crazy stuff. Close that scenario flow. This is one for the end of the mission. You can also change side relations here if you need to, like the ones between green 4 and stuff. Add end scenario. This is just when you want to give the mission complete. You can give like a message, and it'll give you that mission complete screen at the end. Spawn. So yeah, in the spawn you can find some of that stuff. You can find in Zeus, you can't find the USS Liberty and the Freedom in the props. You actually have to put it down from here, I'm pretty sure. So you can find USS Freedom, and it'll not really very visible for you maybe, but it draws this yellow box.
Yeah,
You see that?
I think I can see it.
Okay, yeah, it's a little bit hard to see in the desert, but it draws a box with an arrow pointing what way it's going to go. You press enter, and it spawns the carrier. And the same for the Liberty. Make that point whatever way you want, so the opposite direction right now, and here you go. So mines and explosives, I already showed you. Spawn effect, I already showed you. You got a bunch of different options here. You can't just do smoke grenades, but you can also do tracers and candlelights and fucking who knows, whatever the fuck you fancy, right? You can also put down a trawler. Then a white want that one anyway. And you can put down a submarine. That doesn't work. It flies apparently. T-Fire you don't need, and Zeus. Okay, so when it comes to controlling AI, you can do it two ways. There's modules for it, like remote control. I don't really use that one. So I use the keybinds. If you want to just remote control someone real quick, you can hold down control and double click them. And I'm taking over this guy. But I don't get the full options that this guy would normally have. I'm Zeus controlling, and it's not so bad for infantry, but you can usually really notice in vehicle. So if I go in here, and I want to turn the lights on, but there's no option in the scroll wheel menu, you see? I can turn the engine on and stuff and do a few things, but I can't turn the lights on. So if I want to have full options available to me, I go back into Zeus, and instead of doing control double click, you can do alt double click. And that way you take over the actual unit instead of just controlling him, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
Why these are two different options, I don't know. I've always felt like actually controlling him takes a little bit more processing power, but so if I hold down alt and I double click this man, I get into the truck. What? Okay, it's bullshit. I promise you, more options show up. I don't know why it doesn't now, but you can see it for yourself. Alt double click, going into a unit, you get more options. Maybe it's because I just went into this one that's control, I don't know. Promise you, if you want to do all the options, just hold down alt and double click instead of control. Where's everyone?
So the reason why I asked about the set toggle thing was because I wanted like American soldiers to be executed while they walk in front of them.
Okay. That's nice. I just went back at Eden for some fucking reason. I gotta make Zeus. I think we were actually done anyway. Just want to make sure there's no modules I forgot at the end, but that was pretty much it. Do you guys have any questions?
No.
The paratrooping thing. That's how do you make like?
That was the same as the reinforcements. I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
But instead of I selected land, you can just select paradrop. Let me check the last modules. Promote the Zeus is one for making a co-Zeus if you need him. You can drop that on a guy. And the Zeus lightning bolt is everyone's favorite. I think that's it. You can also give him a hint, and you can show a text in the top right and help him out that way. Reinforcements for airdrop. So I'll go to reinforcements. I'll create an LZ. I'll create a RP anywhere. It doesn't really matter. And I'll make them come in from the side. So I'll go spawn units. Give it a second again. Up for National Army, helicopters. Yeah, let's go with an MI. I like to go with the MI8s because they have so much space on board. I like to make them RTB and despawn, alpha, and here you can select land, fast roping, or paradrop. Keep in mind that the fast roping doesn't always work, and it doesn't tell you till it gets right to the space. So make sure that the helicopter you're trying it on, either you tested it before, or you just know that it works, because otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. So you say paradrop, National Army. Let's give them a good number. 8-man team with a PKM. The RP is set, and I want them to be in combat. Beautiful. And now it's gonna do the thing for you.
Oh yeah, this is beautiful.
Thank you. Another top tip is if you press backspace, you get rid of all this shit, right? But on the bottom right, it shows you that icon.
Yeah.
If I press Control Shift, backspace, it's gone. So that makes your screenshots a little bit nicer. That's up to you. Any more questions? Perhaps one more thing would be the specify thing position. Have you used that one at the bottom right? So if you place down a carrier, and picture that you're over water now, right? But you want to place a helicopter on it, that'd be really annoying because...
Oh yeah, it spawns down there.
Yeah, it spawns down there, just like the spawn, right? So I placed this CH-47. Yeah, well, it seemed to work now, but there's no water next to it. But you can picture if there was water, you would get something like this happening, or it would sink in the water. It's no good. Yeah. So you can select the specify position button in the bottom right corner. And that way, say that there's water all around this. There's no water on this map, so it makes it hard to illustrate. But say there's water all around this carrier. I can drop down the CH-47 like this. You can see it's floating a little bit, but on the water, it wouldn't sink. It just hang there still. And now I can drag it to wherever I want it to be. So like this, and hold Alt. I want to put it here. I want to line him up that way. Make sure he's good. Like that. And then I press Enter. And then it locks into place. So it's a good way to, especially for carriers, if you want to place stuff down over water. If you don't notice, a lot of boys end up actually going all the way to land, somewhere where there's no water, and then place it down. And then they have to fly all the way back with it to put it on the carrier. Yeah. So that trick will save you a little bit of time. Otherwise, it'll be frustrating. See, even that's fucking bullshit. Carriers are really annoying in this game, but I think they're worth it. More questions? No?
No. I think it's pretty simple.
These guys are shooting my dude.
By the way, I think I figured out how to make the execution thing.
Really?
Yeah. I made a little trigger thingy here. If they drive into it, they'll see their own soldiers getting executed.
Oh god. You killed everything,
cool.
Right?
I think there's a script for it as well to make it look like a proper execution site if you go and search hard enough.
Fucking no.
Because there's like a camera and stuff you can set up. I don't know. Anyway, that was my lesson. I think that's all I have. There's so much more still to teach though, but Arma is just...
Let's just practice.